today. We're going to answer some of your questions and talk reptiles. Let's do this. Alright, so I thought I would do something a little bit different. I'm usually super busy during the week and don't do any actual vlogging or filming or anything up until my weekend, being Tuesday, Wednesday. So, yeah, I figured we'd just do a Q&A. I asked for y'all to send me some questions on Instagram, and quite a few of you gave me a bunch of good stuff here. So we're going to try and get through all of these questions pretty quick. So I've saved them on here, and we're going to see. And just for viewing pleasure, I do have my now proven male tiger het exantic, who produced the clutch of babies that I'm waiting to have their first sheds on right now. So some of y'all have probably seen some photos on my Instagram of those guys. So this is Dad, but I figured he'd hang out with us while I'm reading these questions. That way nobody can complain about there being no snakes in this video. So, alright, first of all, Jeff had a ton of great questions, just kind of fired off and just gave me a bunch of good ones, so that's awesome. I appreciate that, Jeff. Started off with, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's a good question. I'll definitely still have my collection of snakes and reptiles. I'll definitely still be obsessed with coffee. And I hope to still be breeding and providing awesome animals, and you know, maybe working with rare species. Apologize for the dude doing yard work outside. It's 100 freaking degrees right now. There's no way I'm closing that window, turning the fan off, so y'all are gonna bear with me. As far as location, I mean, I'm in Sacramento now. I imagine I'll be in Sacramento in 5 years too. But yeah, I mean, hopefully still working with reptiles at home and at work full time. So that's the goal. Just, you know, hopefully 5 years it'll be more mature and larger and further down along some of my goals. So, and then the next one Jeff had was, do you keep your Papuan pythons similar to your carpets, temp, humidity, things like that? Almost. I do aim for significantly higher humidity. I spray that enclosure down. He's got coconut husk bedding, so it's nice and humid in there. I do allow it to dry out, but he's got a lot more climbing apparatus in there and things to hide in, and he definitely uses it. So temperature wise, I run the hotspot maybe a couple degrees cooler, maybe not quite like a 90, more like an 87, 88 hotspot, depending on how, you know, he's eating and things like that. But otherwise not too different, just more humid. What are you most excited about project wise leading into the next breeding season? Well, there's about seven groups of carpets that I want to be breeding next season, and the Crebos, and hopefully I'll be able to breed my first Brazilian rainbow boa holdback and get her to produce for the first time. You know, that's always kind of a goal, to breed the animals that you've produced, right? So those will be some really cool carpet projects. More exotic tiger stuff, albinos, citrus tiger, het albinos, and visuals. Do some more striped jungles, of course. How could I forget? I'm always excited about everything. If I'm breeding it, it's because I'm excited about it. So everything that I'm aiming for, I'm excited for. If money, space, and legalities were not an issue, what would your dream reptile to keep be, and why? That's a good one. Probably a Komodo or a saltwater croc. Yeah, no, I think it would be to have a big outdoor area with a heated lagoon and a pair of saltwater crocs. I think that would be it. These have all been from Jeff, by the way, but now we're going to take a left turn. Hadley D. Ellis, I apologize. Jesus, dude. I can't read. How does crossing morphs from different subspecies of carpets affect the future of the species? Well, when I think of the future of the species, I think of the fact that we can't import animals from Australia. So if we're talking about, you know, rare lines of pure blood, like, I don't think anybody should be putting morphs into Brisbanes or Cape Yorks or anything like that. I think gelatins need to stay just gelatins, even if they just outcross them, because as soon as you mix something else in it, it's no longer that, you know, pure locality, so to speak. And I think it depends on the availability of them. If there's a bunch of them, then, you know, 1 or 2 people exploring, I don't think hurts anything in the long run, because, like, for example, Palmerston jungles, Nick Mutton produces a bunch of those, and a lot of people have that project. So I don't think we're in too much danger of Palmerston's disappearing anytime. So if people use those in striped jungle projects, I don't see anything wrong with that. So it is what it is. We have kind of a finite gene pool of these animals, and I just think if it's a very rare, you know, subspecies or locality that hasn't really been developed fully in the hobby, I think that needs to take precedent, and morphs need to stay out of that, just so we can make sure that those are still around for the long term. When you first start, okay, now we're going back to Jeff again. When you first started getting into reptiles, who did you look up to as a mentor? My first, well, so I got my first snake at 8 or 9 years old, so I was my own mentor. The library was my own mentor, you know. But otherwise, you know, obviously had a little bit of access in the early TV days to Steve Irwin stuff. But then, as far as work goes, my first curator back at Santa Barbara, he really kind of schooled me on how to think and approach things, and always ask questions and investigate, and just kind of, he was my first exposure to professional, like, reptile keeping in a very thought out, meaningful way. So that would be James Travers, and he's now at the zoo in Greenville, South Carolina, I believe. So shout out to James, you're the man. What is it like day to day working in a zoo? Prepping diets, dishing out food, changing waters, misting things down, helping shed, feeding stuff, cleaning up poop, bringing animals to the vets for their annual exams, communicating with other teams when you need help, a lot of communication, record keeping, a lot of different stuff. So it's busy, but not, like, every day is different. So it's pretty nice. It can be really stressful though. It's a ton of work. Alright, Jeff with the rapid fire again. What was your first reptile you ever kept? That would be a California king snake when I was like 8 or 9 years old. What is your favorite reptile expo and why? That would have to be the Pomona Reptile Super Show or Anaheim, depending on what time of year and location. Too many good memories. It's just the most fun I always have. So that's like, it used to be my home show, sort of. When I lived, you know, in Santa Barbara, it was only 2 hours away, so that was my spot. How much time would you say you spend maintaining your collection every week? I mean, I would probably say I cumulatively devote like 30 hours or so in this room on a weekly basis, spread out across a week, probably upwards of 30, especially during baby season. A lot of feeding, a lot of cleaning. So, you know, the more work you put into a collection like this, the more you get out of it. You put the hard work in and you'll see your results. So I try to work in here as much as possible. These have all been from Jeff, by the way. Thank you, Jeff. Do you have any tips for maximizing time when it comes to maintaining a larger collection? Yeah, if you're running rack systems, have doubles of these tubs so you can just put animals into clean ones, set a dirty pile up and get to them later. Have, you know, paper and bedding set up so you can do quick grabs, have it all kind of within reach and organized. One of the things that I do for water cleaning, with the exception of the larger animals that get bigger, like ceramic bowls, is deli cups. You can just quick pop or change out good clean water, recycle those cups, and keep them moving really fast. So anything that saves you time, that doesn't sacrifice the quality of care the animal's receiving, you know, having paper towel roll holders nearby. What else? Yeah. Just a lot of preparation work, pulling food ahead of time, you know, keeping inventory notes, all these different things. So, what do you use to record and edit your YouTube videos? You're gonna laugh at me, but I do it all on my phone. I film on a camera. I export it to my phone where I have this app that's just pretty rudimentary. I'm not that tech savvy. I could send it to my computer and do it there, but I just started doing simple edits here and it's just been working. So eventually I will move to a legit, pretty more expanded software, I would think. So one of these days, but yeah, I just keep it simple, man. It doesn't have to be frilly and have all sorts of, you know, cuts and edit, you know, I mean, you can and it'll look great, but like, that's just not my style. Alright. Next question from Katie Sato. I apologize if I mispronounced that or said the account name wrong. I know who you are, Katie. Favorite thing about breeding snakes? Woo. Getting to, you know, see what you can make and just getting to see babies and just having life around, you know, having these animals around is the best part of breeding snakes because I get to make more and see it. It's just the best experience, really is. Least favorite thing about breeding snakes is when it goes wrong. They get sick, it takes a lot out of them, babies die, animals die. You know, it's often said that the worst thing you can do to your pet snake is try and breed it because of all the complications that can come of it. So, you know, you're going to learn to ride the highs and the lows when you breed snakes, and there's some pretty low lows, but you just have to, you know, if you really love it, you'll stick it out. This is another one from Katie. Favorite species to handle / interact with? Probably my Cribos. They're just too smart, inquisitive, intelligent, active. They're just kind of all over the place, and very gentle. Great with kids at schools and things like that. I mean, they're just so much fun, and you can't deny how smart they are when they're cruising around. They're the best, so they're very fun. Centralian Exotics asks, how do you explain to people without reptile experience why you keep so many snakes? You know, to be honest, I kind of avoid the topic. A lot of people get misguided notions about it, and this very quickly becomes a question of hoarding to people who don't understand it. And then it just, you'll never win somebody over at that point, especially considering snakes tend to be more of a phobia than, you know, a philia for people. So I tend to avoid it. Some people will ask or find out, or I'll kind of, you know, slip something, and you gauge it, but honestly, I tend to keep it to myself. That you just have enough crazy people out there in the world today where all it takes is one person to, you know, think you're the devil and be a huge supporter of PETA and HSUS. All of a sudden you had no idea. So it's tough. You have to do it delicately if you are going to. You have to ease them into it and kind of really be prepared to go full on and defend yourself if it goes that far. Hater Tots. What's up, Danny? What would you tell a little dude who would like to study snakes and zoo animals and where to start? I would say if you love it, just keep doing it and don't ever stop. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't make a career out of it. Don't ever let anybody tell you you shouldn't be doing that. Handle your business, get good grades in school, do all that. Nowadays you have to go through certain levels of school, at least graduate high school. You know, if you're really interested in it, go to college for it. I mean, there are schools you can do that. Be prepared to travel. But if it's really what you love, you'll make it work, and don't ever give up on it. There's plenty of ways to do it. You're never going to get rich doing it. In fact, it'll probably be the opposite. You'll be like me, renting for a long time and, you know, scrounging to make ends meet, but it's more rewarding when you're successful in that way. And you can make a life out of it. You can do research, you can do field work, you can travel, you can work at a university, you can work at a zoo. You can do anything, man. And if it's really what you love, just keep putting one foot in front of the other and let time guide you on the way, and you'll get there. John Bergs, my buddy from across the pond. Everybody, which reminds me I need to send a shirt out to Ireland. I've sent a shirt out to this gentleman, John, over in England? London? Sorry, ignorant American here. And I've actually had somebody send me photos that they saw you at a show because they saw my shirt out there. It was really cool. But what's up, John? Tip of the cap. What are your favorite 2 snakes, venomous and non-venomous, that you would like to find in the wild? My 2 favorite non-venomous snakes that I would like to find in the wild would be carpet pythons and probably an apodora. As far as venomous snakes, I would really love to... I'd really love to see taipans in Australia, and I'd probably like to find a king cobra. That would be impressive. I think those. The list is much longer than that, obviously, but like if I had to pick 2, those would probably be them, because intelligent, very crazy animals, and like super interesting snakes. Jeff, what's your favorite beer? Right now, nice refreshing IPAs. There's a local brewery, Track 7, that does a good blood transfusion. It's like a blood orange IPA. It's delicious. That's a pretty good one. I like hazies. I don't have a favorite. What's your favorite whiskey? Either like a really nice aged 4 Roses single malt, or like a super old bottle of Macallan, something like that. Did Carol Baskin kill her husband? Yeah, she did that. Chondro Cartel, this would be Evan Browder. Plan on adding Bolins to the collection. Yeah, one day. I don't think I could do the species justice right now, so it would be like, if I had a house and I had a cool room that I could cycle differently than the rest of my animals, that's how I would do it. So maybe by then they'll go down in price too, because I can't afford them either. So it's going to take some time. They're on my radar though. Where you going? Special F, that would be Ryan Cox. What keeps you going through the bullshit? Snakes. My girlfriend. Honestly, just turning it all off, petting the cat for a minute. He's pretty rad. He's my homie. Checking out my tarantula, just focusing on the animals and what's right in front of me. Just turn everything off. Learn to recognize when I'm like getting too wrapped up in it, and that's when I tell myself I need to turn it off. So it's a skill. You have to work at it. Lisa Farina, who's a friend of mine out here. Do you think Sacramento is too hot for diamonds? My snake room gets 83 to 85. No, I don't think it's too hot year round. In fact, I think the night drops in the winter and the highs and lows would be good. You'll just have to do some particulars at managing it with ventilation and things like that. I think it can be done. I intend on doing it, whenever I get diamonds. So we'll just communicate, and whenever I get some, we'll bounce ideas off. Kathy, how to take care of a diamond python? Turn off the heat at night. Grow them slow. I don't know. I don't have any, but I hear they're pretty tough animals. So slow grow, slow feed. Let them get cool at night. Let them cycle a bit. Don't run them too hot all the time, and they'll do really well for you. Where are you going, dude? Oh, I see. He's staring at all the ladies back there. There's a bunch of female carpets behind me. Feely, what's up, John? Have you ever just gone blank on camera when asked a question? No, but I've definitely gone blank on a podcast when asked a question, or like awkward silence, and I'm just like, yeah, definitely have. J.G. Elston, Epicrates centria hydrophilus, or Epicrates centria. Yeah, rock on, man. Not a question, but I miss you. I miss you too, John Feely. And Jason at JH Pythons. What is your favorite thing about the beaded lizards you work with? That they're really slow and derpy, and everybody thinks they're dangerous, and they're not. And I just really love their behavior, and they're just kind of chill lizards, and they get real big, and those really bumpy scales are pretty sweet. They're cool lizards, man. I'm not a lizard guy typically, and I love beaded lizards. They eat mice and chicks and eggs, and they're just that forked tongue, that big purple mouth. Oh, they're so cool, man. If I could have like a trio of each of the species and subspecies, I would. I would have a beaded room if I could. IQ Exotics asks, or says, I should say, I'm sure I commented on your YouTube video, but your Edito carpet setup would be cool. Or ideal carpet setup? Or a video showing my carpet setup? Something like that would be cool. Yeah, I'll work on that one day, for sure. And then I got a few questions from people in languages I don't speak. So I'm sorry, I can't even read those. And that's that. So this is gonna be a long one, and for everybody who's stuck around to this point, I'm going to, for everyone who's stuck around this far, I'm going to let you see one of these killer babies. This is an Axanthic tiger male produced by this guy. I believe it's an Axanthic tiger male. Well, it's definitely a tiger. It's definitely Axanthic with silver eyes. He might be red, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is my #1 holdback male from this guy this season. So if you stuck around this long in the video, you're being rewarded by some of the first good video footage of these baby Axanthics that just hatched out. Hopefully they'll be shedding in the next couple days, and next week's video I'll be able to show you them all sort of post first shed. So anyway, thanks for submitting questions, everyone. I really appreciate it. This was kind of an interesting video to do, a little different, so figured we'd give it a whirl, and I hope you all enjoyed that, and maybe we'll do it again in a year or something, see how things change. Anyway, stay cool out there. It's really hot. Hope everyone's having a great baby season, breeding season, and staying safe. So on that note, I'm gonna get these snakes cleaned. Later.